Alright. Hey guys, VGamerSNRV here, back with another video. And today, I'm back with some more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And last episode, we began our investigation in the trial Turnabout sisters, where Maya Fey is under arrest for killing her sister Mia Fey. Now, I feel like the fact that they're sisters alone should, kind of create a question of, would Maya really kill Mia? But I guess not. I guess familial relationships are all out the door for this one. But this is the courtroom. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Maya Fey. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Miles Edgeworth. I better not show any signs of weakness today, or he'll be on me in an instant. Mr. Edgeworth, please give the court your opening statement. Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant, Miss Maya Fey, was at the scene of the crime. The prosecution has evidence she committed this murder, and we have a witness who saw her do it. The prosecution sees no reason to doubt the facts of this case, Your Honor. I see. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Let's begin, then. If we may call our first witness, Your Honor, the prosecution calls the chief officer at the scene, Detective Gumshoe. Whew. Witness, please state your name and profession to the court. Sir, my name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective in charge of homicides down to Prisnick, sir. Detective Gumshoe, please describe for us the details of this murder. Very well, sir. Let me use this floor map of the office to explain. The back of my neck feels very itchy and I'm not sure why. The body was found by the window, here. And the cause of death? Loss of blood due to being struck by a blunt object, sir. The murder weapon was a statue of the Thinker, found next to the body, sir. It was heavy enough to be a deadly weapon, even in a girl's hand, sir. The court accepts the statue as evidence. They're still calling it a statue. And we got floor plans added to the record thanks to Edgeworth. Now, detective. Yes, sir! You immediately arrested Miss Maya Fey, who was found at the scene, correct? Can you tell me why? Yes, sir! I had hard evidence she did it, sir! Detective Gumshoe, please testify to the court about this hard evidence. Whew! Witness testimony, let's go! We're gonna get into our cross-examination right after this. As soon as the phone call came in, I rushed to the scene. There were two people there already. The defendant, Miss Maya Fey, and the lawyer, Mr. Phoenix Wright. I immediately arrested Miss Maya Fey. Why? We had a witness account describing her. The witness saw Miss Maya Fey at the very moment of the murder. I highly doubt that, but okay. The very moment, you say. Very well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Cross-examine what? I couldn't see a single contradiction in that testimony. Whoosh! It's back! Hey, Maya just threw something at me. What's this? When my sister couldn't find any contradictions in a witness's testimony, she would bluff it and press the witness on every detail. The witness always slips up and says something wrong. It worked lots of times. Should have expected Maya would know some of her sister's tricks. Alright, let's give this a try. Something the matter? No, Your Honor. I'd like to begin my cross-examination. So yeah, previously on the bottom screen, our only options were those two arrows to move along the testimony and present. I pointed out the press option. Let me move to the actual thing that we need to press on. There we go. Okay, I think that's one of the... Nope. And this is the one we need to press on. Okay, let me get my thoughts together. So you can press on literally any statement without getting any penalties, whereas if you present a piece of evidence on a wrong statement, or if you present the wrong piece of evidence on a statement, then you'll get a penalty. Hence, those exclamation points in the top right corner are sort of like your life bar. You get 5 penalties, get immediately guilty verdict, you're out. So, when you press, you can press on anything as much as you want. No penalties will come, unless you press on something and you make and they start questioning you and you make a wrong decision or make a wrong conclusion. But this is the one way to press on. You can press the left button to just immediately press on it, or you can hold down Y and say, hold it! And that can also work. I'm not going to be doing that because I'll get annoying very, very quickly. I'm just going to be using the button, same as with the objections from the first episode. Hold on just 1 second. Yeah? If I heard correctly, you said you arrested her because you had hard evidence she did it, correct? Huh? Did I say that? Me? I heard you say it. You did say it. You said it. Exactly what about the suspicious woman in Pink's claim was hard evidence? What? This is made suspicious, and she sure isn't Pink, pal. Well, I guess she is Pink. That's enough, Detective Gumshoe. Do you have any more solid proof other than her claims, Detective? I guess pressing can have its advantages. Yes! Gah! Sorry, I got the order of things mixed up in my testimony, Your Honor, sir. There's something I should have told you about first, Your Honor. Very well, Detective. Let's hear your testimony again. Whew. Alright, hard evidence. Quote-unquote hard evidence. After securing the suspect, I examined the scene of the crime with my own eyes. I found a memo written on a piece of paper next to the victim's body. On it, the word Maya was written clearly in blood. Lab test results showed that the blood was the victim's. Also, there was blood found in the victim's finger. Before she died, the victim wrote the killer's name. How do you like that? That's my hard evidence. Before we begin cross-examination, I have a question for you, Detective. Your Honor? Why didn't you testify about this vital piece of evidence the first time? I know, I'm real embarrassed I forgot about it, Your Honor, sir. Try to be more careful. Very well, the defense will may begin its cross-examination. He says that, like, every time when we're about to cross-examine, so I'm going to not bother with it at some point. Alright, but there is something that, stuck out, and I mentioned this in the last episode. Before she died, the victim wrote the killer's name. Now, if you remember the last episode, I was looking through Mia's autopsy report, and I pointed out that it said, death was instantaneous. Now, if you die immediately after being struck by a blunt object, you don't have the time to write a killer's name because you're dead immediately. So, objection! Let's call it. Detective Gumshoe, there's one thing I want you to clarify for me here. You say that the victim, Mia Fey, wrote this note, and that she was accusing the defendant, Maya Fey? That's really what you're saying. What? This is one of those lawyer tricks now, is it? Of course she wrote it. Who else could have? You have it backwards, Detective. Backwards? The victim is the only person who absolutely could not have written it. This is a report from your department, Detective. Immediate death due to a blow from a blunt object. She died immediately. But no but in your way out of this one, Detective. Order! The defense has a point. Someone who died immediately wouldn't have had the time to write anything down. Mr. Wright, I beg your pardon, but when exactly did you obtain that autopsy report? When? The day of the murder? The day after the murder? I forgot. I think it was the day after the murder. No, that's exactly what I said. The prosecution's point being, that autopsy report is outdated, Your Honor. What? A second autopsy was performed yesterday at my request. Death was almost immediate due to a blow from a blunt object, but there is a possibility that the victim lived for several minutes after the blow. I received these results this morning. No way! Your Honor, it is quite easy to imagine that the victim did have the time to write Maya. That is all. I see. Damn you, Edgeworth. I should have known you'd have something up your sleeve. Why, Mr. Wright, you look shocked. Something you want to say? You're a sham, Edgeworth, the detective's a sham. I'm a sham. Oh, God. None of these options are good to say in a courtroom. I'm just gonna blame Gumshoe. Detective Gumshoe, you're a sham. How would you give me a faulty report? Huh? I thought... Detective Gumshoe. I'm disappointed in you handing him the wrong report like that. What? I'm sorry, sir. You are at fault, Detective. This isn't going to look good on your evaluation next month. What? But... Your Honor, I submit this report to the court. Understood. The court accepts the evidence. Oh, God. Well, Your Honor, the evidence strongly suggests that the victim was identifying the killer. I suppose that's the obvious conclusion, yes. Darn, this isn't good. The prosecution would like to call its next witness. This poor innocent girl saw the murder with her own eyes. Alright, we know who's coming up next, Miss April May. We love Miss April May, don't we? Exactly what part of her is innocent? No, really, though. Exactly what part of her is innocent? This music. Witness, your name, please? April May, at your service. Order! An introduction should not require any reaction from the crowd. The witness will refrain from wanton winking. Aww, yes, Your Honor. This is not good. She's already captured the heart of every man in this courtroom. Well, except Edgeworth, apparently. And the judge. Tell us, where were you on the night of September 5th, when the murder occurred? Gee, I was, in my hotel room? I checked in right after lunch. And this hotel is directly across from the Fay & Co. law offices? Mm-hmm, that's right, big boy. Please testify to the court about what you saw. God, I hate saying words. I hate saying words. Okay. It was 9 o'clock at night. I looked out the window, you know? And then, I saw a woman with long hair being attacked. The one attacking her was that mousy girl sitting in the defendant's chair. And then the woman dodged to one side and ran away. But that girl, she called up to her and she hit her. And then the woman with the long hair, she kind of slumped. And the end, that's all I saw. Every little bitsy witsy. Did he just say to refrain from wanton winking? Well, Your Honor, I see. It is a remarkably solid testimony. I don't see the need to trouble the witness any... Wait, Your Honor! Yes, Mr. Wright? What about my cross-examination? I thought the witness's testimony just now was quite firm, didn't you? Mr. Wright, I understand you were Miss Mia Fey's understudy, were you not? You must know her techniques well. Her cowardly way of finding tiny faults in perfectly good testimonies. Hey! How dare you! Well, Mr. Wright, will you cross-examine the witness? Yes, I'm cross-examining the witness. I'll gladly proceed with the cross-examination. If only because I have a feeling Edgeworth doesn't want me to. She has to have some weakness. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination. Alrighty then. There's already something that I want to press, and I remembered... Is there? Yeah, there is something. There's one specific thing that I want to press. Nope, it was this one back here, wasn't it? Yeah, it was this one. Press that. How do you know she was a defendant? Huh? Well, you know, she had a girlish physique. Women know these things. Look, I just know, okay? There was only one person at the scene of the crime with short, girlish figure. The testimony is bulletproof, Your Honor. He's right. I question the testimony. Hold on a minute. That testimony stinks. What? Miss May, I'm willing to bet that you saw nothing. Did you really see the defendant at all? Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of this? Yes, what is the meaning? Somebody tell me, because I'm clueless. About this, I mean. Okay. If you really had witnessed my client, Maya Fey, you would have noticed her clothes before noticing her physique. Oh, look at that face. No one wears clothes like this on a daily basis, except her. And I'm no expert on fashion, but her hairdo looks far from normal to me. However, the witness's testimony mentions neither of these things. The testimony is bogus. But... Still, we do not know if she was dressed that way the night of the murder. She was, Your Honor. I saw her. And so did Detective Gumshoe. What do you say to that, Miss May? What are you trying to say, you mean lawyer? I saw what I saw. I just didn't think all the trifling little details were necessary, darling. Miss May, the court would like to remind you to please omit nothing from your testimony. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'll be a good girl, I promise. Your testimony again, if you would. Damn, I almost had her. Well, you could probably get her in this next one. Alright, let's hear it. I did see everything, I did! The victim, the woman, dodged the first attack and ran off to the right. Then the girl in the hippie clothes ran after her. Notice how she's pointing out the clothes now and not earlier. And she hit her with that weapon. I saw it, I did. That clock, that kind of statue-y clock, the thinker, I think. Well, does my accuracy of the report not startle you? So, how does she know that the thinker is a clock? I see. I only wish you had been so detailed from the beginning. Please begin the cross-examination. Yeah, okay. There is one thing I really want to press her on. That clock, that statue-y clock. How the hell would you know that this is a clock, ma'am? Miss May, what you said just now was quite revealing. Revealing? Ooh, you'd like that, wouldn't you, naughty Mr. Lawyer? You just said this statue of the thinker was a clock, but there is no way of knowing that just by looking at it. Another person is in much the same position as you recently called the too, and he was found guilty of murder. Order! Order! Miss May, can you explain how you knew this was a clock? Oh. The witness saw the murder with her own eyes. That's all that's important here. The defense is trying to confuse the issue with trivial concerns. Yes, of course. You will withdraw your question, Mr. Wright. But questions are all I have, Your Honor. And as you may recall, I've caught murderers with these questions before. Well, only once. Objection sustained. You may continue to question the witness. Phew, that was close. If he stopped me there, the trial would be over. Huh? What? So, what happens now? What happens now is you answer my question. How did you know it was a clock? What? That's... because I heard it? Yes, I heard it say the time. So, you've been to the law offices of Fay & Co. No, hey, I didn't say that. Why would I go there? I heard it from my hotel room. The law offices of Fay & Co., where the murder took place, is very close to the hotel. She could have easily heard the clock. Well, Mr. Wright, are you satisfied? No, Your Honor. I can't give up now. I'm not satisfied because she couldn't have heard it or it couldn't have rung. It couldn't have rung. Honestly, either of those could have been correct. Your Honor, members of the court, it is inconceivable that the clock in question... It is inconceivable that the clock in question rang because it's empty, it's broken, or the batteries are dead. It's empty. That clock is missing its clockwork. How could you possibly? Just take a look, right now. Oh, see anything interesting, Your Honor? It is as defense says. This clock is missing its clockwork. It's quite empty. Empty, huh? Mr. Wright, would you care to explain to the court the meaning of this? It is as you can see. The clock was empty. It couldn't have rung. Therefore, this witness is a big fat liar. Fat? Well, Miss May? Edgeworth. Quite the show you put on for us, Mr. Wright. He knew the clock was empty. Somehow, he knew. I'm afraid you've forgotten one thing, however. Indeed, the clock is empty. As you say, it can't ring. However, we must ask, when was the clockwork removed? If it was after the witness heard the clock, then there is no contradiction. That's true. That is a possibility. The clock might have been emptied after she heard it. And that is exactly what happened, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Wright, can you prove when the clockwork was removed? Of course we can! Oh, impossible, of course. I have proof. What? Wasn't it you who told me proof is everything? Well, I was listening. Now I'll show you the proof you like so much. The evidence that proves when the clockwork was removed is my cell phone. Take a look at this. It's a very cute cell phone. Ooh, you have a girly phone. Oh, wait, this isn't my phone. Listen, this is the defendant's cell phone, and it contains a recording. A recording of a conversation she had with the victim on the day of the murder. Order! The defendant's cell phone? This wasn't brought to my attention. Perhaps Detective Gumshoe overlooked it? The good detective better remember he's up for evaluation soon. I gotta say, I'm starting to feel bad for the big fella. Let's hear the conversation. So you just want me to hold on to the thinker for you then? If you could. Oh, I should probably tell you, the clock isn't talking right now. Huh? It's not working? That's lame. I had to take out the clockwork. Sorry. September 5th, 9:27 a.m. Your Honor, I think this makes it clear that the clockwork was already gone by the time this was recorded, which was well before the witness even arrived at her hotel. Well, Miss May, would you care to explain this to the court? Just how did you know that the weapon was a clock? Well, isn't it obvious? I saw that clock before. What store was it again? I go to so many. Oops, I forgot. So the witness had seen it before. That would make sense. Does the defense have any objections, Mr. Wright? Yes, I object. The witness claims she had seen it before, but this directly contradicts the piece of evidence already submitted to the court. Well then, let's see it. Please produce this evidence that will prove the witness had not seen the clock before. Do we have to present? We have to present the thinker. Yeah, we present the thinker because it was made by Larry. It's simple. This clock was never in any store, ever. What? A friend of mine made that clock. Only 2 exist in the world. And the one that isn't here is in police custody. Impossible! Everything is sold in stores. Miss May, I think it's high time you went shopping for a better excuse. Oh? Excuse is not on sale today? So there's, I guess she's finally snapped, yeah? Dun, 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 dun. What's it to you, porcupine head? That stupid clock doesn't matter, okay? She did it, and she should die for it. Die! Well, that was a quick change of heart, wasn't it? Oh, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is a court of law. The witness will remain calm. Okay, sure. That's scary. That's scary. Did I, lose it? I guess I did. God. No, really though, that's scary. Miss May, let me ask. Tell me, how did you know the weapon was a clock? Oh dear. Does the defense have an opinion on this behavior? Okay, this is it. Yes, Your Honor. Allow me to explain how I see the truth of the matter. Miss April May, you knew the weapon was a clock because you held it or you'd heard about it. You had heard about it. The witness had never held the clock in her hand. However, she had heard that it was a clock. She heard? That is correct, Your Honor. There is no other way she could have known to think it was a clock. And I can show you the proof. Well, this is interesting. Let's see it then. Show me evidence proving that the witness had heard the murder weapon was a clock. The wiretap, let's go! Have a look at this. That? I found this in Miss May's room. Okay. Mr. Wright, please explain to the court what this is. Miss April May, you were tapping the victim Mia Faye's phone, weren't you? Oh. Your Honor, this is irrelevant. I'm not entirely sure that it is. Objection overruled. It troubles me that our witness was in possession of a wiretap. This is outrageous. Does the defense truly claim that the witness was tapping her phone? Absolutely. Even if that was the case, which is not, you still have to prove one thing. Did the victim ever say that the weapon was a clock on the phone? Yes? Yes? I think I can. It's simple. Just listen to the phone recording again, bro. Here's my proof. Proof that the victim said on the phone that the weapon is a clock. Maya's cell phone. I present the defendant's cell phone. Yes, we've seen that. Listen once more to the conversation between the defendant and the victim. Well, we've heard this already. It's a clock. It's made to look like that statue to thinker, and it tells you the time. Miss April May, you used a wiretap to listen to this conversation. That's how you knew the thinker was a clock. Am I wrong?
Objection!
Your Honor, this is ridiculous. Your Honor, look at the witness's face. Does she seem amused to you? The defense demands an answer. Witness, answer the question. Did you tap her phone? Miss May. Shut up, all of you! What gives you the right to talk to me like that, you lawyer? It's no fair. All of you ganging up on me like that. Oh, so I'm the bad girl. Is that it? Is that it? Gosh. That did it. The court's seen the real Miss April May now. Now to deal with the final blow. You did it, did you? Or why the wiretap? She definitely didn't do it. Well, we know she didn't do it. We know who did it. Why the wiretap? Why did you tap her phone? Answer the question. Do I have to? Isn't this a murder trial? Isn't tippity tapping, irrelevant? She's saying exactly what Edgeworth wants her to say. Miss May, you were tapping the victim's phone. I hardly call that irrelevant. Considering it was a victim, yes. While this court does not condone the defense's tone of voice, he has a point. Well, Miss May, do you have an explanation for the court? Can you prove you had nothing to do with this murder, or even though you had tapped her phone? Ha! I'd like to see her pull that off. Mr. Lawyer, I saw that evil grin. You probably think I'd like to see her pull that off, aren't you? Damn, she's good. Well, you're not the first man who thought that. And of course, I can and will. You can't be serious. No way. Way, I say. Way. Oh, and I assure you I'm serious, Mr. Lawyer. Okay, so the killing happened around 9 o'clock at night? Why, that's just when I was getting room service from that sweet bellboy. Room service? Iced coffee, I believe it was. Iced coffee, you know, like normal coffee, but cold. If you don't drink it quick, the ice melts, then you have regular cold coffee. Iced coffee? Think I'm making this up? Ask the bellboy. Ergo, the witness was not on the scene at the time of the murder. Again, I never accused her of being at the scene of the crime. I just accused her of tapping Maya's phone. Or not Mia's phone. Like, it's obvious she wasn't at the scene of the murder. Like, anyone can tell you that. So, where does that leave us? It is my great displeasure to inform you that the witness appears to have been tapping the victim's telephone. However, that is a separate crime with no bearing on this current case whatsoever. Her testimony stands. She saw the defendant, Maya Fey, commit murder. No, they're going to let her just walk away. There's no way I could win this unless I tie Miss May to the murder somehow. Well, does the defense have anything to say? Well, come on, think of something. Call the bellboy as the witness. The defense would like to call the hotel bellboy as a witness. There's something suspicious here, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I think you've sung him quite low enough already. Apparently he agrees. I object to calling the bellboy. Why? What's your reason? Because I hold that the wiretapping had nothing to do with the killing. However, if you agree to one condition, I'll consent to calling this witness. Condition? If Miss April May's alibi is not called into question after you examine the bellboy, then you will recognize that Miss April May was not the killer, and thus she is innocent. And thereby, you must also accept the verdict of guilty for Miss Maya Fey. That is my condition. What? I'd better find something suspicious in that bellboy's testimony. Otherwise, Maya will be declared guilty on the spot. What should I do? Accept the condition. We kind of have to at this point. Alright, I've got nothing to lose, except for, well, everything. Understood. I accept your condition. Fool. You fell right into my trap. Wait. Very well. The court calls the hotel bellboy to the stand. Hellboy. Fell right into his trap, huh? I believe we're ready for the witness to testify. He certainly does look like a bellboy. Yes, sir. I received your summons in the middle of work, sir. I'm happy to be of service. That tea set looks rather heavy, so without further ado, the witness may begin his testimony. Very good, sir. Oh boy. Whew. I am the head bellboy of the fine Gatewater Hotel, in business for 4 generations. I believe I received a call after 8 in the evening from our guest, Miss May. She asked for an iced coffee to be brought to her at 9 o'clock on the dot, sir. I brought it to her at precisely the requested time, of course, and I delivered the iced coffee to our guest, Miss May, herself. I see. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Right. I'm ready. I hope. This is it. If I can't prove Miss Way was involved in the murder now, mine will be finished. Well, you gotta find something to press here, huh? I think it's like the last one that we have to press. Or the third one? Third or fourth one is one of the ones we have to press. 1, 2... 9 o'clock on the dot. So you brought it to her right at 9.
Hold it!
Precisely 9 o'clock then? Precisely, exactly, and most definitely, sir, 9 p.m. How can you be so sure? Miss May was quite insistent that it be brought then. Oh, bellboy, I'd like an iced coffee at exactly 9 p.m. Something like that, sir. Therefore, I knocked on her door at the crack of 9 o'clock, sir. Why would she be so particular about the time? That is curious. Oh, so I have to press this one. My bad. You are sure it was Miss April May herself? Absolutely, sir. Absolutely? Yes, sir. As in, so very absolutely, sir. It's an endearing mannerism of mine. How come you're so very certain? Well, when I brought the room service, sir, the guest, sir. Okay, moving on. Embarrasser? Is that French for embrace? It's French for kiss, sir. But not a French kiss, sir, more of a peck on the cheek. But why would she have done that? I believe perhaps she was momentary. Or it could just be how she is, you know. It sounds pretty fishy to me. No, it's definitely pretty fishy. I think our Miss May was up to something and wanted the bellboy to remember her. Oh, yeah, probably. It's no good. There's nothing there. Is that it? Finally, you understand. This bellboy has absolutely no reason to lie. No. If you have any decency, you'll end this rather tedious cross-examination here. It was a bit tedious. The witness may leave the stand. I can't let this happen. Can I? Protest or give up? Protest. Wait! Please wait! Yes, does the defense have something to add? One last question. Let me ask one last question. Your Honor, I must object. The charade of justice has gone on long enough. Now, Mr. Edgeworth. Alright, Mr. Wright, I'll give you one more question, that's all. Okay, this is really it now. This is my last chance. What do I ask him about? Check-in, room service, or bed making? I mean, I guess room service. Tell me again about the room service. Again, sir? At exactly 9 o'clock, I delivered room service to Miss May in room 303. The guest had requested iced coffee. $18 was the charge, as I recall. I see. But $18? Doesn't that seem a bit expensive? Yes, well, iced coffee for two, you know. And we don't skimp on the ice, sir. What did he say? What did you say? Rather, quite. Bellboy, tell us the truth now. Was someone else staying in Miss May's room?
Objection!
I object. That was objectionable. What? Objection overruled. The witness will answer this question. Yes, I see. Why did you not mention this in your testimony? Well, sir, you didn't ask. Nice try. That's the sort of thing you're normally supposed to mention. Yes, quite. Indeed. It was the, good barrister over there, Mr. Edgeworth, who... He asked me not to mention it if I wasn't specifically asked, sir. Ugh. You fool! Miles, what are you up to? I've done it. I've won. Have you, Nick? Miss April May checked into a twin room with a man, correct? Yes, sir. Then, when you brought them room service, you didn't see that man in the room? That's right, sir. Your Honor, we have just learned of another person involved who may have been the murderer. In light of this new fact, I hold that it's impossible to judge the defendant. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Edgeworth? And who, Mr. Wright? Who is this other person? Simple. It was the man with Miss May. The man who checked in with Miss May. Whoa. Your Honor, as has been previously revealed, Miss April May was tapping the victim's phone. Yet Miss May herself has an alibi at the time of the murder. However, that does not clear the man that was with her. The bellboy saw no one else in the room at the time of the murder. My, what a convenient little setup. But it's too late. Too late? I suppose you'd like it if it was too late, wouldn't you? After all, it was you who hid the presence of the other man from this court. Yikes, Nick! Upstart. Amateur. These accusations are ludicrous. Enough. The court acknowledges the defense's argument. I expect the prosecution and the defense to look into this matter fully. Am I understood? Yes. Yes, Your Honor. That is all for today for the trial of Maya Fey. Court is adjourned. Whew. That was a lot. Mr. Wright, you were amazing in there. Really? I think I might be your newest fan. Oh, I was just doing my job, you know? Then again, that other attorney was pretty cool, too. Huh? That face of his, with his eyes wide and trembling lips, it sent shivers up my spine. If you say so. Oh, excuse me. So, what happens with me? Do I get to go home now? Well... No, I don't think so. Not yet. Oh, I see. But I got a great lead in today's trial. A lead? That man with Miss May, he's the key. Oh, I get it. What happened to Miss May after that anyway? I heard they arrested her. I guess she's learning her charms won't work everywhere. She's probably at the detention center now. I may have to go down there later. Anyway, this case is far from closed. Yes, sir! I'm going to find out more about this man. Do you think he was the one who... Maybe so. Sis, don't worry. I'll find him by tomorrow. I promise. I'm counting on you. I asked for a full record of Miss April May's testimony. I thought it might come in handy during the trial tomorrow. But now that I have it, I'm not so sure. Most of her testimony was all lies. In fact, there's only one part that hasn't been stricken from the record. I don't know how much good this will do me at all. What? This will do me at all now. Anyway, time to hit the pavement and do some investigating. Maya doesn't belong in that detention center, and it's up to me to set her free. So that is the first day of trial. So typically in these Ace Attorney cases, the trial will be split across 2 days. So what will happen is 1 day is the investigation, the second day is the trial, and then a second investigation, and then the third day is the final trial. That's typically how things go. That's sort of the pattern here. But that is all for this episode, so I hope you guys have enjoyed. We'll continue on with the investigation tomorrow. But until then, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!